Steiner's school annual fundraising fair was on last Sunday and the local crowds turned up even though the weather was threatening to rain on their parade. Family groups were there to enjoy the day with many alternative stalls and activities for the young and old to enjoy. Displays of the students' handiwork were available for people to see and parents showed off their own talents through their own handicrafts. Displays of the students' handiwork were available for people to see and parents showed off their own talents through their handicraft displays, bringing the world of fantasy into the classroom for all to see. There was a range of music and dancing for people to enjoy, with many staying on to enjoy the day despite the heavy rain that began to fall early afternoon. Chrissy Small caught up with parents and teachers alike to discuss the fair and find out a bit more about what Steiner School offers to those attending, not just the children, but for the parents as well.
Now Sarah, you're a parent here.
Yes.
And this is a great little fair, and obviously this is a little room of fantasy. Tell me a wee bit about what we have here.
Well, this is our magical room. We call ourselves the Midnight Elves.
Right.
And Ellen over here and I run the group, and it's the parents from the school who make toys based along Steiner's principles of toy making, using all natural materials to sell, to make money for the school, because we're always having to fundraise, which is probably what makes our community so strong, because we don't have any other funding, so we have to fund ourselves. So we have many happy hours making these toys. We use all natural materials, as I said, so we get in wool felt, cotton, wood. We stuff our toys with wool, fleece. There's plenty of that around in New Zealand, which is good. It's also a very big community building group. So on a Wednesday morning we meet up in a room and we have cups of tea and a lot of chatting, and we teach people how to make the toys. And so we're fundraising, we provide the toys for the community and anyone else that wants to buy them, and we community build. It ticks lots of boxes and it's a lot of fun because we all love making and doing the craft.
Fantastic. Now, obviously a lot of hours of work in here. And
that's why we're called the Midnight Elves.
Yeah, right. And what is so special about Steiner for you as a parent?
When I was looking for a school for my children, they were in a state play centre in Sydney, and they didn't really like it very much. They were very little. They were 3, and I was looking for a school, a primary school to send them to. And I took my niece to a good primary school in the area, and it was so scary. There was a headmaster with a megaphone and shouting out orders to them all. I was thinking, I cannot send my child to this school. I have to find something more nurturing than this. And so I started looking around, and a friend of mine sent her children to the Steiner School in Sydney. That's where we lived at the time. From that point on, I went to see it, and I took my child to the playgroup there. The first time, she just ran off by herself without me, no crying, no clinging, and I thought, this is it. This is the thing for her, and it was also the thing for me, because I was introduced immediately to the craft. Being an ex-textile designer, I was seduced immediately. And the more I learnt about the philosophy of Steiner education as I joined in with this playgroup, the more I realised this is the only way, really. It's a completely holistic education that educates the hands, the heart and the head, whereas I see most mainstream education is educating the head only, and that's why I love it.
I'm here with Jane, who is a teacher at Steiner, and Fabienne, who is the organiser of this fair. Now, what a great day. Even though the weather's kind of intermittent here, it's been a great turnout. Are you happy with the way things have gone?
Very well, yeah. No, well, we looked at the weather yesterday and we thought it's going to start raining at 10, and it didn't. And it's holding off, and it should be holding off for a little bit longer. So, yeah, really happy. Lots of people.
Yeah. We're delighted so many families have come.
Now, the school doesn't actually receive mainstream funding, does it?
We do receive a certain amount per year. Yeah, between 9,000 and between 900 and 1,100 per child, but it depends on the pool how many private school pupils in New Zealand. So the parents need to donate the rest of the costs.
Right. So it's not cheap, is it, really, when you think about the expertise that goes into running a school and the costs of running a school?
It's an investment because the children are very well prepared for high school and therefore for life.
Tell me a bit about what the Steiner philosophy is. What makes it so different to mainstream schools?
It's about education of the head, the hands and the heart. And so the children are doing things, and then their feeling realm is involved with that, whether it's painting or handwork or gardening or building or whatever it is that they're learning, they're actually doing it.
So this is a good way for children to learn practical skills, isn't it? And to explore their creativity.
And it goes beyond that. It's really helping the child to be confident within their personality. So everybody has different talents and gifts, and this education really brings that out. And so we have a lot of very confident children leaving the school, and this is reflected in the results our high school students have at the Motueka High School.
Yes. Their high school says, please send us more pupils.
Okay. Well, that says something about the quality of what's going on here.
Yes.
And also putting forward these young human beings into the real world is quite extraordinary, and is a good launch pad.
Yes.
Great. Now, tell me a bit about what we've got on that you're presenting for the children today.
Well, quite often people say, how is Steiner School different from state school? And the main difference initially is that the first 2 hours of the day aren't one subject. We do main lesson blocks. They last 3 or 4 weeks. And later you'll be able to see a geometry main lesson block. So the child is able to really deeply go into that study every day for 3 or 4 weeks. And then it sleeps for a while, and then English might come, or maths might come, or geography might come, something else. And the main lesson is a really, really rich way of studying. And the rest of the day is practice lessons. There's a fabulous community. Somebody said, how come there are so many people? And it's because the kindergarten is more than 30 years old, and that community of warmth then enfolds us when there's a function. Right. So very, very well looked after. We look forward to moving to our new land. It's the 11% of the new school.
And so what will happen to this particular part of the school?
Well, we're leased here,
Yes.
and we're here until the end of next year.
Okay.